And I am going to say a massive, massive welcome to Duncan Lloyd and Tim Seymour. They are here today to share with us the Profit First system. Answer any questions? Are you going to answer questions, guys?
Yeah, of course.
For those of you who have signed up, hopefully you've seen the video that I put out about why I wanted to run this for the guys. I will talk about Profit First as much or as little as the guys want me to. But for us, we've implemented it in our business. It has phenomenally changed our lives. Our business, yes, but our lives. It gives us a really nice, soundful sleep at night, and it gives us cash in the bank, and we never have to worry about VAT bills, corporation tax, or personal tax. That's all I'm going to say. Now I've lined it up, I'm going to hand over to Duncan and Tim. Guys, shall I just shut off my video and leave you guys to it and leave you to control it, and then you can come back to me if you want me? Would that work for you too?
It's entirely up to you, Amanda. I mean, personally, I think for me, what's most powerful is when we tell our story of how Profit First has affected us in such a positive way. So okay. I'm going to tell my story. I think Duncan will probably tell his, and if you're willing to tell yours again, I know you did it on the intro video, but I personally think it's really important for people to hear the effect that Profit First can have on people's businesses, but also on their life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to hand over to you guys, and then when you want me, then call on me. All right, that's probably the best way forward.
No problem. Thanks, Amanda. So, I mean, hi guys. Really nice to see you all here. I recognise a few names in the list. So thanks for coming along. And to those I don't know, thanks for coming along as well. My name's Tim Seymour, and this is Duncan Lloyd. We're the joint owners of Profit First Professionals in the UK. We took this on from the 1st of March, and we're absolutely loving life right now. We're loving building our community of accountants and bookkeepers and business coaches. We've got a great bunch of guys and girls with us, and yeah, times are exciting for us. So we're looking to raise brand awareness of Profit First with accountants and bookkeepers, so that you can all understand exactly what Profit First can do for you in your practice, but also for your clients. And that's the bit that really switches your business around. So if I tell you a little bit about what I did, and then I can explain to you what Profit First is, and then Duncan can perhaps share his story as well. So I had an accountancy practice for 17 years. And when I set up, I made all the classic mistakes. I hope I'm not alone when I reveal this, but I made all the classic mistakes that we make. I signed clients on. I didn't charge enough money. I did whatever they wanted me to do, and basically became the commodity. And all I worried about was compliance. So after a few years, I started to get quite stressed out. I was inundated with work. I was working long hours to get the work completed so that I could keep the money rolling in through the door. So I was always up against bringing money in, stuck in that month-to-month cycle. The money would come into my account. I'd pay my bills, I'd pay my employees, and then what was left was for me. And if I'm honest, it wasn't enough. So I thought there's got to be a better way. And I started looking around for different ideas, different ways of doing things. It's around about that time I actually came across Amanda, and I learned quite a lot about marketing from Amanda. So thank you for that, of course. and also I came across Profit First. So 2 chapters into the book, and a light bulb went off in my head. And I contacted Profit First Professionals in the US, and I signed up to be a Profit First member after going through an interview process with Ron in New Jersey. As soon as I started the training and implementing Profit First into my own business, there was a complete mindset shift for me. Suddenly I was moving money out of my income account and into different bank accounts. So I had a bank account set up for profit. I had one set up for tax, one set up for VAT, one set up for operating expenses, and one set up for my owner's pay. And as soon as I started building these pots up and realizing that money wasn't in my current account to make the payments, the impulse buying stopped. I really had to review my costs, and that's how powerful Profit First is, and that's how simple it is as well. So I managed to streamline my business from this scenario. With the money coming in, I was able to start charging premium prices. I was able to offer packages to different clients, and those clients that perhaps I built my business up around, over time, I gradually released them from my practice. And I got myself into such a great position that I was able to sell the accountancy practice last June and transition completely into coaching Profit First to small business owners directly. And as I've already said, from the 1st of March, of course, took over the license with Duncan for Profit First Professionals. So that's kind of my story. Duncan, would you like to tell your story, and then perhaps you can come back and I can explain exactly what Profit First is?
Yeah, sure. So I was running I started my firm back in 2017. Like you, Tim, I put my foot in a fair few bear traps. And then a client gave me the book. And I read it in 2 sittings. And like you, it was a real light bulb moment, because I could visualize clients of mine using the system and understanding it, because we were creating management reports for our clients, good stuff, information on the balance sheet. But let's face it, most clients really don't understand what a balance sheet is. And what Profit First does is it just demystifies the numbers for them and gives you an excuse to contact your client on a very regular basis and give them value, which means you can charge them more money, which means they stay with you for longer. I use a system in my business. We're a small practice. We have about 10 staff. I use a system personally in my personal finances. My wife uses it. My 19-year-old daughter at university uses it. So she's on her mobile app. She's got money for her rent and money for going out. But the reason I tell you that is because I'm happy to evangelize about it, because I've seen the difference it's made to my business, to my family, to my children. And another anecdote. I was in San Diego last month with the Profit First. They call it home base. Head office. So we're at this hotel at a conference, and there's another conference going on for medical devices. And one of the guys at the medical device conference uses Profit First in his business and said, "I've got to come and talk to you about Profit First." And we had him on stage telling us how Profit First had really helped his business. So it's been incredible, the traction this has been getting, certainly in America and now in the UK. And yeah, I'll stop and talk to anybody who will listen.
Fantastic. Thanks, Duncan. So yeah, I guess we should probably at this point explain exactly what Profit First is. We've been telling you our stories, and probably people are scratching their heads going, but what's it all about? So in simple terms, it's a behavior-based strategy for managing the cash in your business. So we kind of challenge the traditional accounting formula by flipping it on its head. So whereas we're so used to, as accountants, we're so used to saying sales minus expenses equals profit, profit becomes the bottom line. Therefore, profit is last. And because it's last, we don't really focus on it. So we worry about what our sales are, and we worry about what our costs are, but we don't really think about profit until the end of the year. How many of you out there have had your clients come to you and say, great, I made a profit, fantastic, where's the money? And for me, I had that constantly, and I didn't have an answer, but I do now. So with Profit First, we encourage you to open up some separate savings bank accounts. It's as simple as that. As your money comes into your income account from your clients on a weekly basis or twice monthly basis, I prefer weekly with the people that I work with, you move that money using percentages into different pots. And like I said earlier, you'll have an account for VAT for obvious reasons. You need to protect yourself. The VAT needs to be paid to HMRC without doubt. You'll have a percentage going into your profit account. This profit account will build up over a 3-month period. And at the end of 3 months, you'll pay yourself half of that profit. So that'll be a bonus that you're paying yourself. The other half will go into the reserves of the company or protect your company from future issues that could happen out of your control, such as pandemics, such as recessions, and dare I say it at this moment, such as a war outbreak. These things can affect us, and we need to be protected from these things. Another account you'll have will be a tax account. So you'll move money into the tax account on a regular basis, and you'll be ready to pay all of your tax bills, whether that be your corporation tax or your self-assessment tax, way before the deadline's due. You'll have that money put aside. So the stress of worrying about the impending deadline of your tax bill will go away. You'll have another account for owner's pay. So this is where you'll be paying yourself from, and you'll be paying yourself each month. And it's really important that you learn that you're the most important person in your business. Without you, that business doesn't succeed. And so you pay yourself first. And finally, you'll have money going into an operating expense account, which is where you pay all your bills from. And you'll realize then that there's not so much money available to you to pay these bills. And that's the key part of this. So when you haven't got as much money, you really have to look at what your costs are. And with these costs, what's the return on your investment of that cost? So are you getting money out of that? Are you bringing in more clients because of that cost? Or are you protecting yourself because of that cost? You know, there's always other kind of scenarios as well that we need to think about. And it's as simple as that. So yeah, sorry, Amanda, would you like to?
Yeah, I would love to. So we have ours split up. So we've got ours in income, operating expenses, profit, owner's comp, VAT, and tax. And what I'm always striving for is in the owner's comp to have a year's worth of pay. Okay, what I'm always striving for operation expenses is to have a year's worth of operating expenses. So that is what gives you peace of mind. If you haven't implemented the profit first system as a business, so forget about an accountant, but as a business, if you haven't implemented it, you can't realistically know how much you have for operating expenses or how much you have, because you haven't got it split into the different pots. It's a phenomenal system that gives small businesses peace of mind. I'm a small business, I don't turn over 50 million or more, but yeah, it gives you that peace of mind. Yeah, anyway, just wanted to say about the pots.
That's a really good point, Amanda. And people will often say to me that the cynics will say to me, well, it's dead straightforward. And it is. It's no more complicated than when my grandfather got paid at Portsmouth docks in the 50s and got a brown envelope with cash in it. I went home and put some in the housekeeping and some in the pub jar. But just because it's simple doesn't mean it's straightforward to get up and running. Mm-hmm. And there are classic mistakes that people make. They go too fast, they make their profit percentage too racy, and that doesn't work. And they say, well, the system doesn't work. There are ways and means, you know, we are familiar with the typical pinch points and helping our clients through that so they can start to each quarter improve. So after a year, there's a significant improvement. Mm-hmm. That's really the power of the system, is getting it up and running, embedding it, and then leveraging the value.
Yeah, and I think it's true. There's points of resistance along the journey, isn't there? And the first point is opening a bank account. You know, some people straight away don't want to open the bank accounts.
The first point is reading the book. So on the journey that I had was I bought the book, read the first couple of chapters and went, as a business owner, remember, I'm not an accountant. As a business owner, I went, I can't get my head around it. And I threw it at Matthew, and because he's more accounting minded, and said, sort it out. I want this implemented. We're very fortunate that he could get his head around it, but most business owners can't. So I would say for the first problem is just getting your head around it, let alone opening the bank account. Sorry.
And that kind of shows, doesn't it, that you passed it over to Matthew, and Matthew was able to understand it and implement it, which is absolutely fantastic. So well done, Matthew. Perhaps you should join our organisation. And of course, like you said, there's many small business owners that will read the book, but they don't know how to implement it. And that is where they can work with an actual certified profit first professional who can coach them and train them all the way through the process, hold their hand and hold them accountable for the small little things that perhaps they don't do, that they need a bit of a nudge on. And that's what makes it work.
100%. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that kind of leads me on to what's the difference between working with an accountant who's read Profit First and an accountant who's a certified Profit First professional. For me, that I'll let you have a go after, Duncan, if you want. So I'm doing a lot of talking, but for me, that is all about if you read the book, you've got the knowledge, you've got some knowledge, but if you go through the actual training through a 3 to 6 month period as a profit first professional, and you get all the support and the hand holding, the one-to-one guidance, and the one-to-one meetings that you get, the monthly meetings as a group, and all the support as an accountancy organisation that you can get from this group is amazing. We've had conversations in a Zoom room amongst us all, where all our other members are offering help and support to our newer members. And so it's all about building that community of trust and of everyone in it together. But you also stand out as a specialist, which I think is really key.
Can I just add that point you make about specialization? My firm, we niche with education businesses and e-commerce businesses. So when we get a potential client who is in that sector and has read Profit First, they are pretty much a shoo-in for us, because we're right in that micro niche. So we're talking their language, and we do Profit First. That's the magic dust, and we charge proper fees. Sometimes 10 times more than their previous accountant was charging. So what Tim and I are looking for are other accountancy firms who want to join the membership, who want to give, who want to collaborate, who want to help their clients make more money, and who, well, I don't think I can put it any more succinctly than that. I better stop talking. That's what we're after.
Without doubt. And yeah, what do you get? The thing that we all have to do as a Profit First professionals is live and breathe Profit First in our own business. So it's really important that you implement and maintain Profit First in your business, see the benefits, reap the benefits. And then when you're talking to a client of yours, you've already lived and breathed it. You know exactly the kind of pitfalls they're going to come across, the little bits of resistance that they might find. But what you do with the client is, first of all, you help them gain control of the cash. Then you help them to be more efficient with their cash. And then you help them build up cash so that they're actually in a really secure situation from a financial point of view. They're starting to pay themselves more money. Like we said, they're providing tax for when they need to pay their tax bills well in advance. They're reducing their costs. And they're going to become more profitable. They're going to have more money in their bank. So why would they not pay you a premium fee for helping them? It's as simple as that. So, Amanda, I think it'd be really good if you tell your story again. I know you did it on one of the introduction videos, but I think it would be really powerful for everybody to hear your story, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. So Matthew, can you unmute yourself too? You don't have to show your face, but if you could unmute yourself. Can you remember what year did we start implementing Profit First? Was it like a year or two before COVID hit?
I think it was the end of 2018.
Okay. All right. Super useful. So end of 2018, I picked up the Profit First book and then threw it at Matthew because I didn't understand it. I knew that the idea of it made sense. My dad's a tax technician, so I've always been installed in me, never spend more money than you've got, don't have credit cards, make sure you pay your debts, people will only pay your value, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to run a business that I could wake up every single day, and if I didn't bring in another client for a year, I could still pay my bills, I could still be happy, I could still go on holiday, I could still look after my children. And my background is I think it's maybe 12 years ago now, I was on housing benefit and I didn't have any money at all. I had money coming in from the social. I think that's very American. That's not the right wording. But I had money coming in from that. And I literally had £30 a week to spend on food for the children. And I knew what it was like to not have money and wake up every single day going, we can't have the holidays, we can't put petrol in the car, yada, yada, yada. So I'd been there. And when I read the Profit First book, or the first chapter, and got the gist of it, I knew that that was the answer to my personal life being stress-free. I knew that it was the answer that was going to give me no worries, be able to sleep at night and have the business that I wanted to have. So we started implementing it. And then, as you know, 2019, 2020, COVID hit. And I've got 500-600 clients that have been my clients over the past 3 years. And the majority of them all had clients that were going out of business. They were absolutely they've got no money in the bank account, they can't pay their bills, they're desperate to get loans, they're really scared, they're losing clients. And for us, because we've been implementing Profit First for a couple of years at this time, it seems, we had money in the bank. We could pay our bills. We had 6 months to a year wages. We had 6 months to a year op expenses. And I just went, it doesn't matter. I can relax. I can help my industry. So I showed up, gave everything away for free, did loads of training for free, because I could show up for the accounting profession and just help and help and help. And that was pretty amazing, because that meant that I was pressure free. Now, at the same time, 2 months before COVID hit in November, Matthew and I came to Hastings for a weekend and said, do you know what, we want to buy a flat down here. And I went, okay, well, we need to make money fast. So we had to make 50 grand that we could take out of the business really, really fast without it affecting our business. So we made that money, but because of Profit First, we knew that we weren't taking money out of the business that belonged to HMRC, that we had to pay back, all that kind of thing. So we managed to buy a flat. Now, 2.5 years on, we've just bought a house that's in the process of being built. And before we sell our property down here in Hastings, we needed to find 100K. So we've borrowed 100K from our business. How many people have 100K sat in their business that they can just borrow for 3 months? They don't. Why do we have it? Because of the Profit First system. So we can borrow that money and pay it back. So why am I sharing this with you? Because Profit First saved my life. It enables me to sleep through the night. It enables me, if we don't have a great month, it doesn't matter. I don't wake up going, oh my God, I can't pay the staff. I don't have to sack my staff, hire new staff, sack staff, hire new staff. And I'm sharing it with you, not because I want you to do Profit First, but because you owe it to your clients to be a Profit First professional, because there is not another system out there that will give your clients peace of mind. They have to go and grow their business, but you can have the system and help them with the system that gives them the cash at any moment. Does that make sense? Has that kind of covered it, guys? Enough for you?
I think that's amazing. That's perfect. It's incredible how personal those stories are, aren't they? I mean, I had a client that said to me that Profit First has saved her marriage.
Yeah,
it's quite remarkable the effect that we accountants can have on our clients.
Yeah, it's huge. And like we're in the process of buying a house. We need to pay 5 grand out on Friday because we've got to put down a deposit on a rented property while we've got a 6 month. I don't ever worry about trying to find 5, 10, 15, 20. And I'm not saying it to boast. I'm saying it because of Profit First has enabled this to happen. Nothing more. Otherwise, I would have gone out and bought Chanel handbags and Louboutin shoes. Do you know what I mean? No, because my goals are different. And because I've got Profit First in place, why do I want to spend 1,000 when I can have 100,000 in my bank account to give me wealth? Okay, it enables wealth building, not frivolous spending, because I have so much insight into how much money we've got in our business.
This is one of the selling points that I use when we're taking on new clients in my firm, that we'll say to them, because these issues will be resolved, you'll have more mental bandwidth to do things that add value, to enhance your brand, to building more clients, to increase your prices. And there's some really interesting research at the moment about what financial distress does to an individual. It actually causes a reduction in IQ. So people who are really short on cash make bad financial decisions.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a system where these things are sorted, you're actually in a virtuous cycle of making good decisions, which you build on, obviously, which is, I think, effectively what happened in your case, Amanda.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you've got freedom, and I know that we're talking about growing a business, but when you've got freedom to think, it gives you the opportunity to get better and better at what you're doing, to have the life that you want. You're not squished and squashed and scared, because you play small when you're scared. When you've got freedom to think and freedom to be creative, you come up with new ideas. And that's why financial freedom is so important. And you can't have financial freedom, even if you've got a multi-million-pound business. I don't believe those businesses will have financial freedom if they don't implement Profit First or something similar to that. If they don't, because they've got no idea. Transparency, they have no idea.
Yeah, from a business owner's point of view, it makes me feel very confident and very capable, because I can very quickly open up the online banking and go, right, what's in income, what's in OPEX, what's in profit, and you're analyzing every quarter your expenditure, you're changing your percentages. So it makes you feel much more in control of your business rather than a slave to it.
Yeah. And I don't want you guys to think, oh, well, our clients can go off and do it on their own, because they can't. The reason why we can do it is because I hang around with you guys all the time. Okay, you've got to remember, I don't have one accountant, I have 500 accountants. So I'm not the typical business owner. Matthew's not the typical business owner. We have people that we can talk to about this. You know, I've known Duncan for a long time. I've known Tim for a long time. Okay, not Tim as well as Duncan, but you know, these people I can ask questions to. I'm not your typical business owner, and I have implemented it on my own, but we don't know if we've done it right. We've done it so it works, but we don't know if we've done it right. People can't do it without your help. And if you try and do what I've done, which is wing it and not get the support from Profit First people, then you could be teaching something that isn't right. And then where do you stand if you've done it wrong? And then they call you out on it as well. That's my concern, is if everyone starts going, oh, I can do it from the book. Well, can you do it from the book? Because you don't know if you're doing it right or wrong, because you haven't got the support of the community and these guys as well.
That's a really good question. I think that the book is a guide rather than a manual. And one of the things that we can see with our existing membership is that everyone does it slightly differently. You know, that they tailor it to suit their industry or the way they want it. You know, we don't say to new members, right, here's all the suite of documents that you need, off you go. It's up to each individual firm to make it their own, put their own logos on it, make it their own system. We can help. We can share best practice. We can show what has and hasn't worked. But really, you know, once you've got that accreditation, it's yours to, you know, play with within certain parameters, and make it your own.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, is the Profit First system works with your clients. So 2 years ago, we wanted to buy the flat. Now we're in the process of buying the house. In 2 years' time, I want to take money out, not for house buying, but to build wealth. And so if you can align what your ideal clients want with the Profit First system, that's when your percentages change. Now, to build the wealth, I'm going to have to, the 2 years between that, I'm going to have to invest a lot of money in the business, into advertising on Facebook and YouTube. So I'm going to want less in profit and more in operating expenses. So it's the Profit First system moves with what the goals are of your clients. Am I right? Like I'm talking about Profit First like I know what it is. I've read a book and implemented it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Amanda, we can see the passion you've got, because the effect it's had on your business and your life, and that's what I'm delivering for my clients and my firm, and that's what I want all these people on this call to be able to deliver for themselves and for their clients. You know, make more money, build a really satisfying business, build more value in your business. I can see lots of questions popping up, by the way, which I'm dying to get stuck into, but I don't know. Okay, I'm in your hands, Amanda.
No, go for it. Do you want me to read out the questions, or can you see them and do you want to call them out?
Do you want to read them out, Amanda, and then we'll
absolutely.
We'll take it in turn.
So, the first one is Neil. What bank accounts do you suggest? Could you just share with folks what different bank accounts, what they are? I think there's 5 of them, aren't there? Do you want to share that one? I'll then look for the next one.
Yeah, so the five foundational accounts are income, profit, OPEX, tax, and owners compensation, they call it. So I noticed someone else talked about, would UK clients prefer UK terminology? Absolutely. We change it we don't use the words like compensation. Right. And also there are some issues about the tax treatment that Mike McCallowicz's book talks about, getting your company to pay your personal taxes. Now, we all know that creates problems in the UK, but we'll come on to that in a moment. But those are the 5 accounts. But you can hack it. You can add in different accounts. If you've got a client with manufacturing, you'll want an inventory account. If you get a client gets paid in advance, you'll want a deferred income account. Some clients might have 8, 9, 10 accounts, but generally speaking, it's 5 to 7.
Okay, great. So it changes, and that's again why it's really important to know what your clients want.
I think. Sorry, Amanda. I was just going to say, and I think as well, that's relative to what a client's goals are. So when you talk to a client as a Profit First professional, your objective is to find out what's your goals. Where do you actually want to take this business? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? I know it's the classic question we all talk about, but actually it's really meaningful, because we can then plan and structure their cash ratios, etc., what's going into which pot in a certain way to allow them to achieve those goals. And that's why there's different levels of accounts that end up being open sometimes.
Yeah. And what's really cool about that is that when you are being told by people like me to be a trusted advisor and do more advisory, this is a great way. If you're not confident enough to do the whole shebang of advisory, what better way to get into advisory than using the Profit First system? Because that's more than compliance, but it's not the whole shebang that scares the life out of many of you. So yeah. Okay, Peter has said, what net profit % do you suggest starting at in the net profit bank account?
Do you mind if I take this one, Tim? The answer is it depends. But if a client is, quite often a client will come to us and they basically got a job in their own business, not really making any money, and we'll say do 1%, and then quarter 2 do 2%, and quarter 3 do 3%. So end of 2 years you've got 8%. Well, 0% to 8% in your profit account after you've been paid is a transformation in their business. And quite often a potential client might say, well, look, I'm lost making, I just haven't got enough money. And we'll say, can you run your business on 99% of your money? Well, yeah, right, 1% in your profit account. Just do that. Just do that to get started.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, that's a bit of a how long is a piece of string answer, but that's my answer.
But also to a business owner, 1% doesn't sound a lot. But if they've got 4 kids and Christmas costs them $5,000, and you can say to them, putting 1% aside for a whole year means that your entire Christmas is paid for, that then makes sense to them. So you talk their language, because again, when you say, oh, we're going to put a pot of 1%, oh, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. I'm not going to bother. That doesn't motivate, but it does motivate to say you're going to pay off Christmas and your summer holiday with the 1%. Make sense?
And if you say 10%, 15%, and it ends up falling over, no one wins. So we always go a bit more cautious and then crank it up.
Yeah. Hey,
Can I just, I was just going to say, yeah, absolutely. Small wins along the way, and it gradually increases. If everybody on this call, anyone on this call who's not implemented Profit First, set up a savings account, call it Profit, start putting 1% of your income each week and watch it build. And if you think you're not missing it, start putting 2%, start making it 3%, but do it gradually. Do 1%, 2%, 3%. So if you're on this call and you've not implemented anything to a Profit First, do that. Take that away from this call that you can do that. It's that simple.
Yeah, it is. It's brilliant. Teresa said, I just wonder if UK clients would prefer UK terminology. Is there a UK version of the Profit First book?
No, there isn't. The content is owned by Penguin. They are very protective of it. I was just saying to Amanda just before this call started, I have got permission to write what's called a UK supplemental guide, which will be downloadable from my website very shortly, but we can only do that if we're pushing people towards the content. So the starting point is always the book.
Okay, brilliant. Then I've got from Neil, what UK banks do you suggest to use? Is there one that you suggest?
Any bank you can open your savings accounts with, but the online banks are really useful. So there's Starling, because you can have spaces. So you have one account, but you have lots of different spaces. So you know, you can move money into the different spaces. So you would call them your profit tax owners paying OPEX. I think Monza is the same, and I think they call them pots, which obviously fits in exactly with Profit First. So we kind of like that one now. But yeah, any bank you can open up savings accounts with, can't you? They don't all have to be current accounts.
Yeah, and we use Santander, Abbey National. So we've got old-fashioned bank, old-fashioned ways. It works absolutely fine. So if you've got people like me who use the old-fashioned stuff and don't get on with the online stuff, then it's perfect. It's perfect. It doesn't matter.
And the book talks about having accounts at a bank where you can't get the money. Personally, don't tell Mike this, I don't do that. I just have them all in one bank. Well, I use 2 banks. I use Barclays and Monzo.
Yeah. I'm recording this and sharing it everywhere, so he'll know. Okay, so Yarka has said, for accountants who first come across Profit First, it's mind-boggling as it turns what they know upside down. Phenomenal. Love it when that happens. Okay. What do you think would be let's say that again. What do you think would be the best way to describe the principle so that accountants understand it easier and come on board? What's the best way that you could describe it so that people understand it? I think you shared at the beginning the formula of how to take profit. I think that's the best way. I don't know, maybe you have a different answer, but
no, I agree.
Yeah. Do you want to give it again? Do you want to give it again? Because you did go over it fast. So do you want to share it again?
Yeah, so simply, instead of sales minus expenses equals profit, then we say sales minus profit equals expenses. And what we mean by that is you've got your sales money coming in, you take your profit, what remains you spend on your expenses of business. Simple. So it's just flipping that formula. We're not going again, we're not expecting anyone to produce accounts in a different format. The compliance rules are still the same for everybody. This is just about managing the cash for your clients and in your own business.
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. So Gareth has said, it sounds like normal accrual accounting principles. I wouldn't know what that is, but with bank accounts rather than accounting accounts. Am I sort of right?
I guess yes, if you were to take the example of someone who gets paid in advance and then puts money in a deferred income account, I think that yes, that's the accruals principle, I guess. But it's slightly different to that, because you might, for example, if your company, I've got a client who's an advertising agency, they put 2% of their money away for Max, so they got a fixed asset account. So you can hack it in many different ways. You still need management accounts. You still need to be able to eyeball EBITDA, and so you can tax plan and do all that kind of stuff. This is just the magic dust on the top that gives your clients that kind of wow factor.
Yeah, and it almost sounds like, from a business owner's point of view, it almost sounds too simple. Like, how can you buy into something that's telling you to put 5 to 7 bank accounts, and that sounds so simple, but actually it's aligning those bank accounts with your clients' dreams, aspirations, their wants, their fears, what they desire, and being able to help them and give them insights every single month to tweak, or every quarter to tweak it, to revisit what their goals are. Are your goals the same? What's happened? Have you decided to randomly buy a property on the seafront, which is what we did? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I make decisions, and in 2 weeks' time I can spend £100,000, and it drives my family nuts. But I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for profit first. I'd like to ask Matthew, as an implementer of it who hasn't had accounting support, Matthew, what have been your biggest challenges with it, and where do you think an accountant might have been able to help you during this, apart from my nagging? Accountants can't help you from my nagging. But yeah, what do you say have been your challenges, and where would you like to have had support from an accountant?
Really, really good question, actually. I did read the book quite a few times. I read it once and got really, really excited about it, and tried to explain it to Amanda, and she stared at me uncomprehendingly and just said, okay, go. So then I read it again and opened all the bank accounts. And I suppose setting the initial percentages was probably the most difficult bit. We kept profit very conservative. That just started at 1%. But setting the percentages for OPEX and, what should our tax reserve be, and that kind of stuff would have been helpful.
Tim, you were going to say, hold on 1 second, Matthew. Sorry, Tim's got his hand up.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to wait for Matthew to finish, and then I had something to add. That was all.
Oh, okay. Carry on, Matthew. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it has all worked, and it has all worked very well now. We don't follow it as strictly as outlined in the book. I review expenses once every 6 months, not every quarter, and a few other small things that work for us. But yeah, it's been fantastic. But yeah, to have an accountant or someone else to bounce stuff back and forth with would be helpful, actually.
And have someone look at our percentages. So, we know that we want to start wealth building in a couple of years' time and want to take out £1,000, £2,000 a month just to put into stocks and shares. Well, what do we need to do with our profit first accounts to make that happen? We've got no one to ask. Well, I've got Duncan and Tim now, but
And that's where you're talking about the advanced techniques of profit first. And you only know the strategies for these if you're a certified profit first professional. It's as simple as that. And that's someone you need to work with when you get to that level, without a doubt. The reason I raised my hand was I was just going to explain what, as a profit first professional, what we would do when we initially meet with the client. So we would produce what's called a profit assessment. And that looks at the historical use of their cash within their business up to this point. So we can then get a gauge then of what their percentages are that they're moving into different accounts or not moving, which is quite often the case. And quite often the OPEX account is very high, a high percentage of what's going on. So then from that point, we then produce what's called a profit rollout plan. And a rollout plan is where we help the client move using small steps over a period of time. So each quarter we will tweak the percentages and increase them slightly, so they're gradually getting to the place they want to get to, which is the target allocation percentages for that industry. So it might take 8 quarters, it might take 6 quarters, it might take 4 quarters, but quite often it takes 6 to 8 quarters. It's my experience with clients. But I just wanted to drop that in there because I think there's been a few questions and a bit of discussion around how do you know what percentage and stuff. You don't just suddenly say, I'm going to throw 5% in profit, I'm going to throw 50% into owner's pay, because you won't be able to do it. And I think Duncan alluded to that earlier about taking small steps.
Yeah.
The other thing with profit first is it's about building that habit. So the habit of actually going onto your bank at the same time, same day, each week, and making those transfers into those accounts is really powerful. Once you get into that habit and you've got that discipline of moving your money, you'll get success without a doubt.
And an endorphin, you get an endorphin hit every time you see money go into a bank account that's not going to come out again. Like you put money in your, you're like, I've got 2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand. And that endorphin hit is phenomenal. So every single week, your clients can give themselves an endorphin hit. And if you're the person that's giving them that endorphin hit, because you're the profit first professional, they will then attribute you to making them money. Okay, they're using the profit first system. But as we go into this recession, you need to find ways where I talk about being a vital accountant, where you're vital to your clients. You're not going to be vital if you haven't got a way to help them make money. And that's what Profit First does. It helps you be vital to your clients. David has asked, what limit do you have for cash in the bank accounts? Surely with inflation at 10%, you should invest much of the cash. What level of advice do you give with this? I don't even understand that question.
Are you referring to if you're over the FCS limit? Well, I'm not, I think that's how I interpret your no.
No, David says no. I can't unmute.
Oh, I see. So I guess inflation is at 10%. If you've got money in the bank account, it's losing value.
Yes, is that what you're saying, David?
I'll assume that.
Yeah, my answer to that is I don't care if it's losing value. Money in the bank makes me feel safe.
Yeah, and if a client's got more than £250,000, they can use their various treasury products where they can actually lock money away. So you could have money in your deferred income account. Let's say you've got a good chunk of change in there. You can then start tying it up. It's still in a fairly liquid form. We use a product called Flagstone for our clients. But as soon as you get into the realms of advising clients on investing their cash, well, that's kind of beyond the scope of us as an accountant. My firm has an IFA arm that we can refer them to, but I personally wouldn't make that call for them.
That's really interesting because I know nothing about this, and that's the kind of thing that I need to know about. Because I'm sitting here saying we've got loads of cash in the bank account, and many accountants will be going, "Oh, you don't want loads of cash in the bank account." There's going to be many, and so I suppose that needs. Yeah, that needs looking at.
Yeah, so David's saying he's got a wealth manager, so that's similar to how my firm works.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've just remembered, Duncan, you work with one of my friends, Ben, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, and he probably has quite a lot of cash sloshing around, although he needs more profit.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, all right. Kim says you have to work with them though to grow their profits. As if the business model is broken, you'll be robbing Peter to pay Paul from the bank accounts. Do you have a certain size that you recommend for?
That's a really good question. Often we get a client come to us and the business might be distressed, And we're really clear-eyed about this with our clients. We'll say to them, if you've got a loss-making product, we can't make it profitable. We can tell you what's loss-making, but you've got to make the commercial decisions to go and get yourself a viable business. But we can have a discussion with them about pricing. We can have a discussion with them about margins, about staff levels, about benchmarking their business against other businesses that we've got. There's a great opportunity to look inside their business and give them value.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, if a business is failing because they've got a product that's failing, we can tell them that's on its way, but they've got to make the decisions to, we can't make promises that we can't deliver on.
No, and we've got someone else, I don't know who it is. They said, will this work for a company that's 2 years old with little profit? If they've got profit, you could probably increase it. It's if they're in negative and have no profit, that's when you've got to look at the business model.
Even if they're losing money. If they're losing money, they've got to get cash from somewhere. So they're either injecting it, or if they're injecting it, you have a loan pot. Mm-hmm. And then you can forecast out, well, how far will it take us to repay that loan? And when's the tipping point where we're actually making money? Yeah. So loss making, profit making, large, small, commercial, charitable, the principles are universal.
And the principles, they would work with your 18-year-old, which is what I need to do with mine. He brings in £1,000. You can use it in your own personal life as well. It doesn't just have to be in a business. So if you can do it with someone that brings in £1,000 a year and has to allocate it, then it's the same for a business. It will highlight the pain really fast. And I know our accountant loves us. He just falls off his chair every year when he gives us the year end. And he's like, I can't believe how good your business looks. And it's because of profit first. It really is. There's nobody else I'd really, no other system I'd really shout about as much as I do with the profit first. Matthew, would you agree that this has been a phenomenal thing for our life?
Absolutely. The clarity and the confidence that it gives you when you're looking at your numbers, just to take everything out of one account. I can't even remember how we used to do it.
No, I can't.
When you've got one bank account and you're like, right, so how much is the tax? How much of that is the VAT? And has the Amex payment come out yet? And have we paid this guy? And oh no, there's less than I thought. What do we? Yeah. So having it all spread out just makes everything else easier.
And our accountant said to us, didn't he, last week? He says, oh, you've got to find, I think it was like 50K to pay for next year's half of your tax, your personal tax, we have to pay on account or something. And we were like, oh, that's fine. We got that there. I don't even have to wait till January. I know I've got it now. That's a huge peace of mind, guys. I didn't know that there was secret sauce to Profit First. And that's why you have to kind of sign up for Profit First. But there are some things that you could implement on your own by reading the book, but it sounds like the real magic is the secret sauce behind the book. Guys, what kind of things would they get support on? Because they can read the book and they can set up their own pots and they can teach it to their clients. One, that's not really allowed. You shouldn't do that. Somebody else's IP. Secondly, what will they get if they came to you and kind of worked with you to become experts at it?
So they get one-to-one guidance. So that can happen on 2 weekly, 3 weekly, or once a month. They get 2 monthly calls. They get monthly calls with Homebase. They get the whole community to tap into with other people's experiences and knowledge. But on top of that, it's not just getting certified. Getting certified is just the initial training stage. Once you're certified, it's the launch pad of your membership. And everything happens from that point on. You work through with your beta clients, you implement it into your own business, and you just get the support of everybody around you. And we're constantly there to help people and give them more training. There's lots of other training around brand awareness. There's a surge training. There's the other parts that Mike's done in his different books. So you get access to all of those different things as well. So there's just a whole all-round kind of support for anyone who wants to take Profit First into their business and into their client's business. And those questions that you have, that you come up against along the way, are the ones you bring to your one-to-one call with your guide, and we help you answer them. And there's something very powerful that I've found, that when I'm sat in a one-to-one with one of our members talking about their clients, and you realize the knock-on effect you're having is that you're helping an accountant who's helping a client. and it just goes on and on. It's like a ripple effect, and it just gives you such a good feeling. So if anyone can wants to take their accountancy business to that level, where they're offering not just advisory and not just support, actually you're becoming an integral part of your client's business, and you're a trusted advisor because you've shown them how they can manage their cash in such a better way.
Duncan, did you want to add anything to that?
The only thing I would add to that is that you know, we as accountants know we can do a lot for our clients, and I know how snobby the profession is. You know, I mean, I qualified with a big firm. You know, you pop out one of those, and you think you can rule the world. And there is I would encourage people to be open-minded, just how impactful this idea can be. You know, if you implement it in the right way, and you know, we're looking for people to join our membership who want to give. You know, we'd love to talk to all of you after this call if you'd like to. I mean, I'm sure we'll come to that later, but you know, certainly a two-way process. We've got to make sure we're right for each other, but we want to make sure that the people joining want to give, want to collaborate, want to help each other, whether it's on Profit First collateral or just general marketing or staff management, or there's a whole load of things that we're helping each other on.
From putting on my marketing hat, right? If I was looking to engage an accountant, and online I saw one accountant on their LinkedIn say, I help coaching companies, or I help training companies. So they're a specialist. And then we've got another accountant that says, I help training companies and I help coaching companies. How do I choose between those two accountants if they're both specialists in my niche? Okay. The one that is going to get me over the line is the one that can prove results. And you can't prove results if you don't have the numbers of how you've helped your clients. When you run the Profit First system, you at any moment can say that we have helped this client increase their profits by 3% over the past 2 quarters. That's it. Quite simple. So your marketing becomes super easy because you've got all the data that you need to then take that to market and go, we implement this system, and this is one client and another client and another client. And you start talking about how you've changed their lives because you've got the Profit First system and the transparency of it. That's how I would choose, because someone can prove to me that if I'm just going to take 1% of what you do, and by the end of this year, Amanda, you're going to have 100K in the bank account. Okay, fine. I'll go with you then. My 6 grand that I'm going to give you for the year's services is going to be well worth it if you're going to make me 100K.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we do have. There is also a referral mechanism where people read the book and they inquire about a Profit First accountant, and they come to us, and we farm out to the most suitable firm. We certainly don't encourage people to view that as the reason to join. It's kind of the cherry on the icing on the cake. But there's quite a nice, I mean, we've all done all right at that, haven't we, Tim, in terms of the inward leads.
Awesome. And then Stuart has asked this question, and I'm going to give you permission to not answer it if you don't want to, because it's a horrible question. Obvious question: level of investment, initial and ongoing. Do you want to discuss that with people on a call, or are you happy to share it now? How would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, we don't normally share that until we have the one-to-one call, because it's all about getting that return on the investment that's made. All I will say is it's a monthly membership fee and it's ongoing. I have been asked in the past if you stop paying once you certify. No, that's not the case, because there's so much more value to your membership once you're certified, like I've already explained. But no, we go through that on a one-to-one call. So if anybody wants to, I've put the link in the chat. It's profitfirstuk.co.uk. You can apply, you can find out more, you can fill a form out, it comes into us, we'll set up a one-to-one. There's no obligation at that point, it's just an informal chat. We find out about you, you find out about us, and we see if we're all a good fit and if it's going to work out working together or not. Simple as that.
And anyone who does Profit First that's in my programs, I can really work with you to help you use Profit First to help you get clients. So Stuart, for example, he's expressed an interest. You know, we can put together a marketing plan around that. And I might talk to you guys about how we can do more together anyway. Yeah, if you're on my programs and you're a certified Profit First person, I will not encourage you to do it if you're not certified, because it's not fair. It's other people's IP. But if you're certified, I'll show you how to leverage that and get clients using Profit First as well. Okay. Michael says, see you on the 23rd. Stuart's expressed an interest. I think that's it. Guys, can I have your biggest takeaway from what we've gone through today in the chat box? T for takeaway. Let me know what's been an aha moment from what we've gone through. There's lots of you. I'd like you all to put one down, because otherwise what you've done is you've come and listened and then you've had a cup of tea and then you're going to go. By giving a takeaway, this actually will have been useful for you. So let me have Teresa's be interested to find out more. So Teresa, I'll definitely work with you. She's a Momentum client. It's definitely worth doing, Teresa. You know how much I love it. You've heard me talk about it before on calls. Interested, very insightful. Simply having the bank accounts in place, says Stuart. Alison says that I can take money from my business without being scared. Yeah, that is phenomenal. Wazim says, can Profit First be started with a capital amount, or do sales have to be made in order to distribute the money across the accounts?
You can start with the capital amount. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Kim has said, very interesting, keen to find out more. Elsenna, sorry, says, great. Ashvin says, offering clients cash flow management. Yeah, that is cash flow management, isn't it? Michael says that I can help my clients more than I am already. Best takeaway yet, that one, because it is about helping the clients, because that's how you position yourself as an asset to a business, a vital asset. And then when the recession really hits, they're not going to cut your cost or look for a cheaper accountant. Marianne says, I think it's a great idea and simple way to present cash flow issues. Great to build targets into KPIs. Duncan and Tim, do you want the last word?
I will just say that as a former pupil of your Momentum program, Amanda, it's been an absolute joy to work on a webinar with you and to talk to all these lovely people. So just thank you ever so much for everyone who's attended, and for Amanda and Matthew for making yourselves available.
No, you're more than welcome. I don't promote other people very much, but this system is phenomenal. I even said to the guys a moment ago, actually Tim wasn't on the call, I said, if you want a number 3, can I come into business with you? Because I absolutely, Tim didn't hear that one, I absolutely am kicking myself that I haven't got Profit First UK. All right, I'm a business owner. I'm kicking myself that I didn't get the opportunity that Duncan and Tim have got already. So that's how much we believe in it. We're not daft. We run a successful business. If you want to work with business owners that want to have success, Profit First is the way forward. It's good. It's really good.
Thank you,
Tim,
Thank you,
What
Amanda.
do you want to say, darling? Tim, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everything you've said. Thank you for everyone for coming along. It really is an amazing system. And Amanda, you're not alone. We've heard this from a few other people that wish they'd have got in there, but me and Duncan got there, and we're really pleased we did. We didn't realise how in demand it was until it was announced that we'd done it. But guys, either I've put the links in the chat. Just click on the link, fill the form out, find out more. I'm happy to have a chat with you anytime. It's absolutely fine. The LinkedIn details are in there as well. Just connect with us. But if you take anything away from this and you decide not to go any further with it, open up a savings account and put 1% into that savings account of your income each week, and just see how it goes, and then come back to us. Brilliant. And I'm going to end on one thing. Nothing is more precious than your intellectual property. And what you have heard today sounds simple, and you could go away and you could implement it on your own. However, one, you would be using somebody else's intellectual property, which is in a book, okay? And two, you're going to get stuck and you're not going to have anyone to help you, all right? So the integrity thing is to go, if you like it, I'm going to do this the proper way, because you could go and do it on your own. We have, Matthew and I, but we don't teach it. Okay, we've implemented it ourselves. If you're going to go and help your clients with it, please have integrity and go and learn from the guys who know how to do it best. Don't try and do it on your own. That would be the thing, because nothing bothers me more than someone stealing your IP.
Well, I think you get a colossal return on your investment if you were to, if we're right for each other and we work together, then one referral and you are making money. 100%.
100%. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming along to the webinar. Duncan and Tim, thank you for being awesome. You're not my friend. I wish that I had actually taken Profit First. We are sworn enemies, but let me see how I can support you. Okay. But no, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you to Matthew for coming along today and sharing how he's implemented it. I know he's behind the scenes, but without him, we wouldn't have a business or a house. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Matthew.
Take care, and the guys will be in touch and show with a link on how to book a call and everything. All right. See you later. Take care. Bye.
Bye.